Hi everybody. Been a while since I talked to y'all, but I don't know how to begin this at all. I'm so pissed, I'm disappointed, and I just don't know what to think of my family anymore. Hopefully you all know from any videos you've seen of mine that my family is very dysfunctional. They, at times, are very insensitive of each other and their actions, and at times don't know how bad their actions, choice of words, and their broken promises tend to affect some of us that are more sensitive. And most of you all know that I really do not connect with my family at all a lot of times. The only family members I really connect to is my cousin Casey and my second brother Matthew. Everyone else, they've either affected me too much, I've gotten some emotional abuse from them is what I feel like, or they just don't want around, or I feel like they don't really understand anything about me, so, and they never asked, so I figured they never cared. So on that note, I just want to say I'm not hating on those who have addictions or mental issues or emotional issues or the ones that are depressed or anything. I use this to vent to you guys because I've just now talked to a few friends on Facebook about what happened, what I've discovered today or tonight, and it still just leaves me freaking shook, like in a very negative way. Now, most of you know the few vents I've had about my niece Fancy, or her full name is, I shouldn't say her full name, we just nicknamed her Fancy because her first name is Fantasia, which I think is a really cool name. Jealous slightly when I heard that was her name when she was born. Over the years, I've seen and observed her frustrations and all her struggling and her depression and her sadness, and I've seen all the cuts she's done on her hand all the way up to here, and some on her thighs, and I've seen firsthand, even though I don't like seeing it, when she was using one of my X-Acto blades for my X-Acto knife for art class, using one of those spare blades that I have to cut on herself, and she literally broke down in tears in front of me and then ran to her room afterwards. There's some things that my family does to even the younger group that I find really harsh, but I feel like in some of the back of my mind it was necessary, but they still did it way too harshly. I'm a big-hearted, sensitive idiot. Anyway, I know she cuts. I know she wants to die. I know she hates herself, hates her body, everything else. Hold on. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. And I always wish I could have a one-on-one talk with her. I really do, because I feel like, I know I may not understand all the emotions that she goes through when she cries herself to sleep, when she wishes she were dead, when all the time she was broken up with her boyfriends and her lovers for no apparent reason, when she lost a friend and went into deep depression because of that, when she feels like the world is against her, when she's worried about her future, all that type of stuff. I wish she would trust me a little bit more, but it's not that I'm afraid of her. I'm nervous about talking to her and have only what I think are words of inspiration and words of love and sense of worriment, because I love her as a family member, that only push her away or have her not trust in me anymore. We do have our moments when we're like nerding off and talking about deep stuff, dark stuff, sad stuff, but it only lasts for like a few minutes and then she gets off on her own end. But I just don't know how to talk to her. I really don't. She's a teenager, so they're really hard-headed. Their ego's really high. Their pride's all the way fucking up. And they just struggle with socializing even with their own family. Because their hormones are a rise, or they think the world hates them, or they have just that hopeless mentality, which is usually fancy with all of them. Maybe this will help. The lighting is not all that good. It's kind of fuzzy. I don't care. Yeah. Sorry, that was Facebook. I try to like open up to my cousin. I'm not one to explode on my family like about 90% of my family members do. They will literally explode on their own families. They will yell when the children are sleeping. They will punch a hole through the wall. They will argue while the children are most likely awake. Or, I don't know. Families are pretty fucked up when they're not balanced in the right way, if that makes sense. But anyway, I've noticed I do babysit. I do help babysit my cousin's kids at times, when they need it, or I'll babysit my nieces for like 2 days maybe, because, I got nothing better to do. I got no job right now. I'm still searching. School is pretty much done, relatively, and it's either I watch them here at my apartment or their house. So last time I watched, not my nieces, my aunt was really sick, very, very, very drunk and hungover, and perhaps really depressed. So she was able to watch the girls at her house. So I was really hesitant when my cousin wanted me to watch her baby and her other child from a different marriage at her house, but her boyfriend, I don't care, James, I do not like him, but I can tolerate him to a point. I'll make, smart ass remarks, but that's all I do. I'm not gonna stand around him. I'm not gonna look at him for very long, etc., etc. I'm trying not to look at my phone. I'm trying to talk to you guys. But last time I was there, we went to her house. We dropped off the kids. Fancy went to watch the kids for a little while me and Casey went to go pick up James, and also so I can get an energy drink or two so I can keep up with the kids while we watch them while everyone's at pool. And when they came back, Casey wanted to get milk, so for supper or whatever, because I was going to make mac and cheese for everybody and hot dogs, which I don't mind the hot dogs, but they bought normal milk, so my tummy was a bit fucked up afterwards, but it was fine. Anyway, I think I'm getting lactose intolerant. I'll say that now. And they came back and they were had about 3 hours left, so they were talking. I could tell James was getting pissed, and I did really not want to be in the house with their kids while they have a fucking fight in front of me. I already went through that once living with those two, Casey and James. They're now boyfriend and girlfriend. And I don't like being around them. I don't like yelling. You guys should know that by now. If you don't, I'm a really sensitive empath / introvert, and I don't really like it when there's a lot of yelling around me, because not only I can feel everything, not everything, like a good 70-80% of everything that's being felt. I can hear everything, and every time the yelling reverberates along the walls and down to me, I literally have a bunch of small anxiety and fear attacks that I either want to hide in a closet or the bathroom. or I want to call the police, or just pack up my stuff and leave. But right before they left, Fancy went to go outside and just stand outside for a while. And when James came back in, Casey and Fancy were still outside, and I heard James say, ask for Dwayne. Dwayne was like, "Where's Fancy? Where's Fancy?" And James was like, "She's finishing her cigarette." And I was like, I was really hoping he was joking about that, because apparently she's been smoking weed since she met James. And James is such a fascinating, bad fucking influencer on her that they think weed is fine. And I have mixed feelings on that. I'm not going to talk about that for this live feed. But I was really hoping she was joking. I didn't much care about the weed, because I do still think there's some chances that weed can be healing for like people that have a lot of mental problems or physical problems. Maybe not so emotional, because emotions are very hard to control and very hard to understand and deal with a lot of times. So I really wanted to message Casey whenever she was not working or not busy with kids or busy whatever she was doing. And I asked her, and I said, "What does Fancy smoke?" I'm really hoping it was a lie. That was just a joke to mean, whatever. And I said, "Is Fancy smoking?" And I texted her about 5:53, like maybe an hour or so after the child left that I was babysitting inside the house to myself. And she responds back, "Yes, she's trying to find a more acceptable way to hurt herself without cutting." And I knew she was cutting, and I don't like that she's harming herself. I don't think nobody should harm themselves just because of the demons in their head and all the other emotions and mental demons inside their head. I don't think anyone should do that, because I really see a really strong positive outlook on the human body, the human form, and the sense and the belief that we are all beautiful in our own way, even if it's not what it looks like on Instagram or YouTube or Snapchat or in magazines and stuff. And I tried to explain to her I was really pissed off that Casey not only allowed this in her own home, she gave Fancy a cigarette and thought it was a good idea that Fancy would smoke instead of cutting. She had the right idea that it'd be something else. No, I shouldn't say that. Hold on. Let me continue on with the messages I had with her. I told her, so that won't help either. I was hoping James was joking when he told Dwayne that day, that the day I was babysitting, which was like recently at her house, that Fancy was finishing smoking. And then I made a suggestion that why would she be allowed to smoke? I do not understand. I really don't. And Casey replied, "It helped me. I made the suggestion to her and bought her the cigarettes." And I was so even more pissed off, because I did not understand it at all. That why would Casey even suggest it to her? I understand, actually I don't quite understand, but I kind of understand that Fancy turns to Casey a lot because she relates to her in some ways, perhaps like a big sister and a really cool mom or something like that. But Casey does not need to be offering that kind of support to such a bad addiction. Shirley is addicted to coffee. She's already addicted to cutting herself. She's so addicted to all those other teenage attitude issues and mental and depression and everything. She doesn't need cigarette smoking. I know like a good 30-40% of my family smokes, all due to stress. That's the only reason I see that they do it, is because of stress. They go outside to smoke and they go through packs constantly. And I said, I love Fancy and understand she's frustrated with her life, not having a lover or a mom around, but she's too young to smoke. She's going to get sick if she keeps this up. Why not go to drawing and writing more? At least that won't damage her lungs. Because I've seen all the commercials, I read about it, that smoking not only can fuck up your breathing, it can just fuck up everything. and it could kill you. And I don't want that for Fancy. She's only 16. And then after about maybe 40 or 17 minutes, Casey responded with this. That's a good point, but I know she was sneaking them from me and her mom anyway, so I bought her a pack. She's almost 17. She's mature enough to be considered an adult, at least from my perspective. And I was really pissed off because to me, being mature, making mature choices and learning about responsibility and taking responsibility. So that means being responsible enough to take care of any pets that you have, to pay for bills, basically be an adult, which I know really sucks to a lot of us. It sucks to me. But she's only 16. When she's like, if she was like 18 or more, I wouldn't be freaking out as much as I am right now, and you can probably hear it in my voice. I'm sorry. But I haven't really seen a whole lot of mature things from Fancy over the last couple of years that I lived here. And I don't think she's mature in any way as of yet. I'm glad she's like helping taking care of her sisters at times and kind of at least going to school, but as I'm think I'm hearing recently, like in the last few days, she hasn't been going to school. And I responded with this. I thought this was a really good, trying to be open and honest with what I feel about this stupid decision. I just think she doesn't need another addiction or whatever negative thing she does to herself to avoid getting help. Or maybe going to school. I was surprised you allowed that in your home. I was hoping Fancy would never smoke. To me, she is still a kid. If she was 18 or older, I wouldn't freak out as I am now. Like alcohol, smoking can fuck up a child like her so much she will be in worse shape. I just don't want her to get more damaged than she is. Smoking will aid that. I'm happy she has you to talk to, at least at times, because you're the only one besides my sisters that's been through the dark shit that Fancy is going through, but I want and hope Fancy will see the good side of things and life and go towards a happy future, even without her mom in the picture. And this is another stupid ass thing that my cousin Casey said around 7:30. I hope she finds a healthier outlet, but I would rather see her smoke than cut. And that's another unsupportive response. I was so pissed. I'm still pissed at my cousin. And I was like, I'm done fighting. I gave you all my reasons that I do not like the decision you made. And I just said, whatever your opinion, I just wanted to make sure. So I'm very, very disappointed and pissed off at my cousin right now. And I'm tempted to tell my aunt about this. But from what I've recently told, she was really sick, but she's also really depressed. So I think this has to do with Michelle, her future at her jobs as a nurse, and trying to help take care of Fancy. My aunt, through all good intentions, I'm grateful for her help in raising me and my siblings and my nieces, but at times I feel like she's too harsh and too ignorant on the other things she could do to help get Fancy off her ass. I know Fancy's really stubborn. I know she has a big fucking mouth and she has an attitude problem, but she needs to get a reality check that this world doesn't revolve around her happiness, but she has to find it herself. Granted, most teenagers are not super happy growing up because life sucks. I'm not getting the clothes I want. I'm not getting the tattoos or whatever. I'm not going to get the ducks or the pets or whatever. But it's just a matter of you learning about yourself, learning about the world, learning about responsibility, learning to take care of yourself, showering every now and again, saying a moment where you're grateful for something, stuff like that. And Fancy hasn't really been doing anything like that as far as I've seen. But if you guys ever watch this video, thank you for watching it. Maybe tell me your opinion on this. Again, I apologize if you smoke or do weed, but this is more of a family issue than your problem. So tell me your opinions maybe about this, and we will I'll let you guys know what I decide to do. I'm just really conflicted that I should not say anything and let my aunt heal from this, or just tell her and have things go worse. but I also want to leave a message for Fancy and actually confront her about this and give my honest opinion, because I can't really get access to her therapist. That's confidential or classified. So every time I try to explain something honest that I feel strongly about, or actually express that I'm upset or frustrated with my family, it gets thrown back in my face, and they're not supportive, they're not worried or caring or understanding in any way. So I think maybe I will try and talk to Fancy first. I just want her to I want to try helping a bit more, even if that means I have to be uncomfortable with confrontations. But Fancy needs some hard love, and to be kind, you need to be mean. So wish me luck. Thank you for watching. Give this live feed a thumbs up if you liked it, or had some understanding moments on what I was talking about. So thank you guys for watching. Have a nice night. I love you. See you in the next one.